Perfect. And we're live. Can you hear us, Sherry?
Yeah, I can.
Wonderful. Welcome everybody to our first 2022-2026 Executive Downtown Millbrook BIA Board of Management meeting. My name is Cindy Page and I'm the clerk for the Township of County. And I'd like to call the meeting to order at 8:05 a.m. Because this meeting is a hybrid meeting, as we go through our motions and as we go through the process today, everything will be a recorded vote so that Sherry can see what's going on and you can see how Sherry has voted as well. What I'd like to start the meeting with is just to kind of go around, everybody introduce yourselves and welcome everybody. So like I said, my name is Cindy Page and I'm the clerk.
I'm Bridget Aya. I'm the Economic Development and Communications Officer of Township.
I'm Ryan Huntley. I'm not a clerk.
No,
I'm John Culver. I'm just a member of the public and on the revitalization.
Chloe Jewers, and I own Rethink here downtown.
I'm Sarah Cooling. I'm the co-owner of Moody's Bar and Grill and Exit 38.
Good to know these people out. My name is Timmy. I work with Workline Theater. I am the new marketing and development manager. So
Kathy Lysett, and I operate the Remax office in Millbrook.
I'm Kimberly Pope, Director of Finance for Municipality. And hello, Sherry, if you can see me.
I'm Sherry. I have Out of the Box Vendors Group, which is a group for artisans and crafters, a local group for Millbrook.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. So the first item is the closure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. So ultimately that clause is if there is a pecuniary interest that you have as a member, you would need to declare it here, and then there's a form that you would need to fill out. Is everybody familiar with what the pecuniary interest clause means? Perfect. So our next order of business is election of officers. So we need to appoint our executive before we can proceed with the meeting. So the first call to order will be to appoint our chair. So amongst our group that's here today, as that's been appointed, we need to select a chair. So does anybody have a desire to be a chair? And if you want to put your name forward, we can get a seconder and then we can go to vote.
I would like to be chair.
Perfect. So Sherry would like to put our name forward for chair. Do we have a mover? Perfect. And that's Sarah, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. All in favor? Oh, my apologies. I'm gonna call the recorded vote first and then we'll do it. Deputy Mayor Huntley,
Yes.
Sarah Cooling,
Yes.
Chloe Dewhurst,
Yes.
Kathy Lysett,
Yes.
Sherry Susie. Sherry Susie. She looks frozen. Sherry, can you hear us? There you are. Sherry, I think you're frozen. Maybe turn
Yeah,
your,
it's kind of,
like-
it was going in and out.
maybe turn your video off like we were talking about
Turn my
yesterday.
video off.
Yeah. And then it sometimes won't have such a draw. I can turn it off for you.
All right. Stop video. Okay. Hopefully that'll be better now.
Perfect. So we just need to support you to be the chair. Are you still
Pardon
there?
me, can you just repeat that?
We're
Yeah, I'm
just-
here.
Perfect. So we're just calling the vote to appoint you as the chair. So do you
Okay.
support yourself to be the chair?
Yes.
Perfect. So that is carried. So now we need someone to be the vice chair. Anybody would like to be the vice
I
chair?
will offer.
Perfect. So Kathy Lysett. Do we have a mover? Perfect. Lily, seconder. Sarah, perfect. So we'll call the vote. First is Sherry Susie,
Yes, I agree.
Kathy Lysett,
Yes.
Chloe Dewhurst.
Yes.
Sarah Cooling.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Huntley. That is carried. Perfect. So now we need somebody to be the secretary.
I'll do that, guys.
So Chloe.
And
so-
she's fun. Please do know to do that.
Wait, I know. Wait,
Yeah, I know.
wait.
So Chloe, you put your name forward. Then do we have a mover?
Yeah.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Huntley and Sarah, perfect. Kathy Lysette.
Yeah.
Chloe Dewhurst. Deputy Mayor Huntley,
Yes.
Sherry Susie,
Yes.
and Sarah Cooling.
Yes.
Carried. And our next is to appoint a treasurer.
Well, I feel like options have gotten limited here.
Now, I don't mind doing treasurer work. It's what I do for a living.
Look at you.
Volunteering for both positions, Sherry.
I think, to be fair, Sherry, do you believe that that might be too much of a workload to take on both chair and treasurer? Do you have the ability or the knowledge? Like, I would not be a good treasurer, so I don't know how to say it. Like, numbers are not my thing. Those are her things. Are numbers your thing? Like, is that something that you feel comfortable doing as to be the treasurer?
Well, I guess I could.
Well, if there's somebody like I can help, or if nobody else is comfortable with it.
Why can't the check? You're pretty quick.
It's a lot of responsibility for one person. I'm not saying they can't, but I wouldn't suggest.
It's a huge responsibility just being the treasurer. It's thankless. Nobody wants a job.
We haven't figured this out.
Oh, Sharon. We still have Louise around as well, right?
She can't.
Oh, great.
I can't do numbers. I can't.
I will.
I can't do a job is what I can't do.
You got it.
Sounds quicker than I did.
It's an administrative type of
The
role.
treasurer job, the treasurer job. is set.
Well, that spells it.
There we go. Perfect. So Sarah's put her name forward for treasurer, so moved by
Perfect.
perfect Deputy Mayor Huntley, seconded by Chloe. And we'll call the vote. So Sarah Cooling.
Yes.
Chloe Dewhurst. Yes. Kathy Lysette.
Yes.
Sherry Susie.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Huntley.
Yes.
Wonderful. And this is
Yay.
welcome. Yeah, so now we will move on, and we need to appoint a member to be the liaison for our municipal revitalization and heritage advisory committee. So that person comes to our meetings, we meet quarterly, and they would provide an update on all the initiatives and events that are going on with BIA and report back to the revitalization committee, and then if there's anything that we can help or partner with, or just to kind of keep us in the loop. So is there anybody that would like to put their name forward for that position?
You say it's quarterly?
It's quarterly now. The council voted in support of those new terms. It was wonderful. Unless there is a heritage permit or something to trigger a meeting. Does anybody want to be that liaison?
I will offer, but if anyone else wants it, it's not just trying to move things along.
Yeah.
Particularly because you just told me it was quarterly.
We found there just wasn't enough to build the agenda to make it worthwhile for the community. Now that we've got the big heritage bylaw review underway, that definitely there's a bigger workload, but we just found quarterly made more sense. So definitely we can nominate you, Kathy, if you are putting your name forward. I do believe by the time we're done this meeting, we're probably going to have a call for the additional complement to fill. You complement can have 10 people that are right now, you will have 5, 6 with Deputy Mayor Huntley. So maybe you can reappoint somebody at the
That would be
better. Perfect. So we'll put Kathy in right now for our revitalization committee member representative. Can I get a mover? Perfect. Seconder. Perfect. Deputy Mayor Huntley.
Absolutely.
Sherry Susie.
Absolutely.
Kathy Lysette.
Yes.
Sarah. You say absolutely with the student base thing.
Yeah.
And Chloe. So now I'm going to officially transfer the meeting over to the chair, which is you, Sherry. I will definitely guide you through as we go through the rest of this meeting. But as we transfer the chair to you, you just have to remember,
Okay.
The first item that we'll have up will be our approval of our agenda. So what you will need is a mover and a seconder. I've already got your votes pre-logged and recorded. You're not here, but I would have given you the sheet if you were. So I can call the vote for you and kind of help you through today's meeting. And then, you know, as we move forward, if you want to give me a call, I can help you with any, you know, additional governance that you might like, or you might choose to allocate money for governance training for your committee, which is highly recommended.
Okay, perfect.
I will transfer this over to you at 8:15 a.m. So you are now officially the chair. So your first order of business is item 7.
Okay, so we like the approval of the agenda. My internet's kind of getting sketchy here, so I may have to go in and I may have to leave and come back in again.
Then we'll transfer that to your vice chair. This is going to be a great meeting. Everyone's going to learn all of the roles. So Deputy Mayor Huntley has moved to approve the agenda. Do we have a seconder? Perfect. Okay, perfect, Chloe.
Out of here for a second.
Everybody's taking notes for you today.
I know, I didn't know if I had to be at this point.
So I will
you
give you
a
7 minutes and then I'll send them to you and then you can add them for your. Yeah, no problem. So now we're going to call the vote, Sherry.
Okay,
So do you want me to call it from here because I already have it written? It's probably easier.
yes, that would be easier. Thank you.
All right, Chloe Dewhurst. Yeah. Sherry Susie,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Huntley,
Yes.
Sarah Cooling.
Yes.
And Kathy Lysette.
Yes.
Perfect. So now you're going to turn the table over to Bridget Iott, and she's going to be presenting your BIA 2023-01 committee and staff roles and responsibility report.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. So typically I'm going forward, I'm kind of your staff representative. So I will be coming to your meetings and here if you need help with anything or if there's initiatives that you know, I'm kind of your liaison to the township. So this is usually a report that we do at the beginning of every new committee. So just to kind of take you through the roles of the Board of Management, there is a handbook that was handed out digitally to all of you. You know, 300 and some odd pages. If you're looking for something to read, wait and sleep at night. There you go. That's your thing. It is really, really helpful. So, you know, break that in chunks. Always good. It's really good advice. There's lots of good stuff. So of course, council established this committee by bylaw, which is also part of your package. So it kind of outlines things around your composition. Cindy mentioned to you that you have a complement of 10. Currently you're sitting at about 6, so you still have room. So you can, if there's somebody else that wants to be part of the committee, you know, we're very welcome around here. We love people, more happy hands, do more work. There's also rules governing the calling, placing, and proceeding with meetings. So as part of you read in the manual, as part of your responsibility as an executive, you are supposed to have rules governing meetings, procedures, that sort of thing. In the absence that you can do your own, it does have to comply with legislation, or in the event of not having one, you can use the township, which is what this committee has done in the past. We like to use the phrase R&D, rip off and duplicate. So, you know, it's available there for you. Cindy's done a really great job putting it together. So that's there for you. The key role, as defined by the bylaw, is beautification and promotion of downtown Millbrook, the business and shopping area. So I think all of you guys can know that. Meetings, quorum, and notice. You're welcome to use this room for your meetings. It is a hybrid room, as you can see. So if anybody is unable to attend, I can coordinate getting somebody in by Zoom, like what we're doing with Sherry. And if you want, I can book this space now and book your meetings in your calendar for the remainder of the year, if that's what you guys want to stay at this particular time frame. So it's usually the first Thursday of the month from 8 in the morning until 10. So if you guys want to stay with that, you can do that if you want to move.
I agreed with doing that ahead of time.
Okay. And are you guys all good with the 8 AM to 10 AM timeframe?
Yes, I am.
Kids, but
Yeah.
it is a little challenging.
Can't get themselves to school.
Not yet, maybe next year, he's 7.
Well, know that you guys can change it.
But, I mean, it's not, I mean, 5-10 minutes late.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
just because school starts at the same time, yeah.
You know, Counselor Huntley doesn't fine anybody. You know, we've stopped them from doing that.
Okay.
We tried to do that, but we got to stop. Okay. So yeah, like that sort of thing is totally fine. You've gone through the appointment of chair, vice chair, all that sort of stuff. So the role of the municipality, I think, as we talked about, we provide a venue for you to meet, staff that can help with whatever you need help with. I think the rest, Kimberly is going to cover as part of her role as the treasurer for the municipality. She's going to be there to kind of guide you, Sarah, through the whole treasurer kind of thing. And really, she is a crackerjack. She is awesome. So for any of us that are not financial people, any of us who are not financial people, Kimberly is fantastic to work with. So don't feel uncomfortable at all. Oh, Cindy's given me. Oh, yes. The BIA secretary must provide the township clerk with a copy of the minutes to be posted on the council agenda each month.
Sorry, I meant to do this right here. This is more important here, this right here.
You missed it with your reference.
I did. I thought it was this point. I'm sorry. So this is really, really important. It's critical for you as the membership to make sure you have your information at a minimum of 48 hours ahead of the time. Before the meetings is just too hard for everybody to be prepared. And legislatively, you have to have this posted on the agenda.
And the one thing I think we need to do is make sure that our membership is, all our contact information is updated for all our members, emails, telephone number, and everything as well.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that. Absolutely. When I did send this out, I did get bounce backs from emails that weren't active. So definitely that would be a great initiative for your executive to take on right out of the gate to make sure your membership is updated and everybody has information. So those are two key points that we have to kind of give a little bit more attention.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. No problem. No, we're a team. We're all a team. We're all here to help everybody and keep it on, you know, right out of the gate.
Like
straight
you
there.
the conscience.
For the last point, is there a cutoff date for the minutes to be posted by?
No. Once you get them signed, if you can send them to me, then I add them to the council agenda and then they get posted on your website.
So Cindy, just, it's saying 48 hours, but I mean, if we say Monday,
Right.
it's probably,
For which one? Sorry.
you're saying you want the agenda posted in 48 hours, right?
48 hours.
Yeah, if you want to post it Monday, that's
So why don't we
fantastic.
just say Monday?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is it just has to be, it must be circulated at least. This is what cannot be.
So how about we just Monday?
Sure, Monday's fantastic. Yeah, yeah, perfect. That's like 72
2
hours in advance.
I'm just being realistic. That's right. Yeah.
Then it's just, it's constant.
Whatever parameters you want to put into place, you guys can absolutely. This is just the minimum requirement that must be adhered to.
So we'll shoot from Monday and you got a couple days to miss.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah, the data about.
Okay, and I just have to send them to you for you to post them.
Bridget posted.
Bridget,
Yeah.
okay.
We'll get into that a little bit later on the agenda. There is a section for website, and we'll.
The budget section.
Okay, and Bridget.
And your because your time is so sensitive, like if you were to wait till Tuesday, it technically has to be posted by 7:59 AM on the Tuesday morning to comply with your 48 hours for your Thursday morning.
So
meeting.
Monday makes more sense.
Yeah.
Well, you just said. I just didn't want to mislead her, Deputy Mayor. I didn't want to correct you, but just for clarification. Okay, perfect. Okay, that would be Matt step on to the next item.
Yeah. Move on. Okay. Request for staff to prepare reports or conduct research. I don't think really in the past there's been a whole lot of requests for that, but we do ask just that if we put through the CAO, if that is very acceptable, and then she likes to be aware of what staff are doing, particularly if we're being directed by committees. She typically, essentially, we work for that works for council. So we all work for council, let's face it, but she just likes to be aware of what we're being directed to do. And it's not a worry as long as you just kind of touch base with her and just say, hey, listen, we need some statistics or some reach. You've asked her to do that, is that okay? And I can also make that request as well. It's not really formal, you know, but we do just kind of like to put that in the, just kind of set the expectation. I think the rest is all pretty straightforward. Yeah, okay. That's the end of my report.
Does anybody have any questions about anything that we just talked about?
For the agenda, where are we getting the input from? Like, people would have to be sending in, like, you know, say the decorating committee wants to discuss something. Should they not be contacting me by like a certain date?
That's because you have Monday now. So you're gonna say Monday is your day.
No, Monday.
So you could tell the decorating committee and every other people that you deal with, so you want their permission by
Okay.
Friday. And guaranteed, somebody will say, can I get to you over the weekend?
Right.
And
For sure.
You got time. But just set it as like a Friday and say, anything you want on the agenda, notify me.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna post the agenda.
Okay, perfect.
That work?
Yeah.
If they ask you, we get till Monday by 8 AM.
Yeah.
7:59.
Yeah. But at 8:00, it's already 9 o'clock.
There, it'll help guide kind of and like behavior,
Yes.
and there will be times where things will have to get.
Well, I just found
It just happens, right?
You know, in the past, it was like nobody who knew what was going to be on the agenda. No one's contacting
But if we set it in advance, it'll help guide me.
Yeah.
Over and I've got 5 bars.
Would it not be the case that if somebody wants to be on the agenda, they're going to email the chair?
Yeah.
And then the chair,
So the secretary and the chair.
Yeah.
Kind of have to be in lockstep.
right?
The chair will put things on the agenda that they want on the agenda, so Sherry,
It's more
by
likely
Friday.
that Mary is going to get the information that Chloe needs for the agenda.
Well, anything. You
Yeah.
can put anything on the agenda.
Yeah.
It goes through the chair, it goes to the secretary. Build the agenda.
Yeah.
But just by Friday.
Yeah.
That's it. If you want something on the agenda, by Friday.
Yeah, if I can make a suggestion, what you might want to do is you and Sherry may just want to connect the Tuesday or Wednesday and just say, we're gonna put a draft agenda together and put something drafted, then send it out to your executive committee and say, is there anything else that you want to add? Has there been any groups that have expressed interest or have something that they want to add to the agenda? And then you tell everybody Friday, gonna have it to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Any other thoughts? Good. Sherry, do you have any questions about anything Bridget's just reviewed?
No, everything sounds really good. I actually got 5 bars on my internet right now, so I'm starting to hear everything. So
Wonderful. So I think if that is it for this report, we will need a motion to receive the report BIA 2023-01 for information. And then we'll just call the vote. Deputy Mayor Huntley,
Yes.
Sarah Cooling.
Yes.
Chloe Dewhurst, Kathy Lysette,
Yes.
Sherry Susie.
yes.
Perfect. So the next item up, the other thing that was attached to Bridget's report, which I'm sure you probably did see, Chloe, is there's a template for minutes and a template for the agenda. So I will send these to you electronically and then you can manipulate them and just add everything in. And you can add new items if you want, if you have like committee updates or subcommittee updates or whatever. You can manipulate any of this as you see fit. This is just your basic template of what you want to. Perfect. So the next item is myself, and it's the understanding accessible customer service. So ultimately, the brochure just speaks to ensuring that we're providing the best barrier-free customer service that we can. And if we're finding obstacles, please reach out to me. If it requires like AODA compliance for literature, we can provide it in a different font or format, or if there's anything that we can do to help with customer service.
So on that sense, I guess if the BIA is to publish anything, should it go through you first for
Accessibility read.
exactly?
So Bridget's our communications officer, so I think as part of the liaison, I think it would be a good best practice to run things through her. It would maintain the corporate image, it would kind of give you an extra set of eyes on it. I think it is a good best practice to be truthful, and I would imagine we'll probably help with their campaign, like their communication program. I think a big part will be engaging your memberships. Maybe Bridget can help, with all of that in communications of how to do that. So yes, the answer is yes, we can help you to ensure that. There is a clear print guideline that basically is Arial 12-point font, black is basically what the AODA requirement is. So we can have to make sure that that's circulated to the committee. Any other questions? No? Perfect. So I just need a motion to receive the understanding accessible customer service for information. Perfect. Chloe Steelers, Sarah Cooling, and I'll just call the vote. Sherry Susie.
Yes.
Kathy Lysette,
Yes.
Chloe Dewhurst,
Yes.
Sarah Cooling.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Huntley.
No.
Oh. I'll call the vote again, Deputy Mayor Huntley.
There we go.
So the next item that we would like to speak to is respecting the workplace. And this came out of a bill, Bill 168, and it's just ensuring that everybody treats everybody, whether you're in the workplace, whether you're in a committee, with the most respect. And no harassment, no violence, nothing like that. So if you find there's anything that's going on that is misconduct, this outlines the process, this outlines, what steps you need to follow. So we just need to make sure everybody's aware of this. So if you haven't taken time, please take the time to read through this part of legislation. Any questions about this? So I just need a motion to receive this for information. Mayor Huntley, Chloe Dewhurst, Kathy Lysette, we'll call the vote, Kathy Lysette,
Yes.
Chloe Dewhurst,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Huntley, Sherry Susie,
Yes.
and Sarah Cooling.
Yes.
Great, we will now turn it over to Kimberly Pope, our Director of Finance.
Thank you. Sherry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful.
I'm just here today to provide you an overview of how the finance department assists with the BIA. We provide oversight, and the main three areas that we cover is we issue the checks on your behalf, report that into GL. We take the deposits, you take it to the bank, you give us the information, we then report that in the GL, and we also do your bank information for you. So you don't actually have to do the financial transactions. The primary roles of both so it would be Barry as the chair and sorry, it's Sarah.
It is, yeah.
Thank you. And Sarah as the new treasurer, that you would have all the invoices that have been approved by the BIA and available to us. And one of the best options that we've done in the past, when there was a meeting here at the office, just come visit me right afterwards. And then it's just part of a routine. It's not an additional trip up, but that also requires the coordination of the entire team to make sure if they're dealing with someone that an invoice is in on time, if you're not helping chase those people. So those are the three primary areas. Then the BIA establishes a budget in the fall. There is a schedule. I do have documents here that I'm going to circulate, but we need to make sure that we follow those timelines, that you provide a draft to me. I upload that again to the financial software, so you don't have to do that. And then I provide you the actual budget where you're at through the year. You can request those reports ongoing, and then that's what's also circulated to council. There is a process to that, and we'll follow the schedule there as well. The BIA chair and the treasurer are both signing authorities. I am a backup. I mean, I'm equally a signing authority, but for processing, I am a backup. So in the event that one of you is out of the country or not available, I can on your behalf. Pre-COVID, the process for the BIA was that invoices were to be approved by the board prior to being paid. During COVID, and just because of accessibility and getting invoices in on time, we did change that around. So where we allow you to collect all the bills throughout the month, And then I would suggest about a week before, maybe at the same time you're putting your agenda together, that you would have all those, because usually you have a 30-day turnaround anyways for payment. If you were to provide that to us, we could actually have the checks ready for you here at the municipality on the day that you have your meeting. Then you take them, they have to be signed by you. We need just 5 days. So if you can give it to us 5 days before you have your meeting, they would be ready for you. When the minutes come out, they're supporting documentation. We do require that for the auditors, and that's just to prove that the board did approve those. So you basically have a monthly check run. So gather through them after your meeting, put them all together. There are sometimes the ad hoc ones that come in. Hopefully they're few and far between. If you have that issue, Sarah, feel free to call me and speak with me. But we would prefer to stay with the monthly run and try to keep that regular process. But again, it requires the entire BIA committee to make sure that it's not your job, Sarah, to chase people for invoices. It's the committee's job and responsibility. And then you would report if there's any changes, requirements to the budget, something unusual. You want to make sure that everything is exactly as approved. And when there are changes, you just want a motion in your minutes, just to prove that you didn't go rogue, that you're actually doing what you've been asked to do. And again, it's supporting documentation for the audit. The other comment to make is all the documents that we have in the municipality. So the reporting of the GL, the financial statements, we present those to the auditors, and it's usually in March annually. And we ask that both the chair and the treasurer be available to answer any questions. They will have access to the minutes because they're all posted online. So previously, when they weren't posted online, that was a large responsibility to make sure you go back and track and what have you. When they have access online, they'll basically just be asking questions. So that's a nice thing to have, and that's what we do at the municipality, but even much better going forward for the BIA committee as well. And so I think I've covered the summary from your report, which is great. So I'm not sure who here, I'm only allowed to circulate to the members. Or
Yeah, well, it was all, is this the same information that's included in the package?
Yes.
Yeah, then it's all public.
So everybody
Yeah,
can have a
yeah,
copy. So
absolutely.
if you already have a copy or you'd like a copy, I did print some today. This is the BIA budget now. So this one's dated the top 25th.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay.
9/17.
Yeah, so this is the one that went forward at the last council meeting, which is the second draft. The final approval of council will come at the next meeting, which is the day after Family Day, the 21st of February. And if there are any changes, I need those changes at least a week and a day ahead so that I have to make the adjustment and get it to the clerk a week before. So my very last deadline for you, you're a smaller component of the municipality, so I can push a little bit later, but at the same time, advance notice is very much appreciated. So this is if you'd like to take one and pass along, if you don't have a printed copy, you're welcome to.
It is page 169 of your
It's
agenda.
in the-
It's in your agenda,
But
page
it's-
169. And I think maybe just for clarification, just explain that this is what has been submitted and approved by the previous.
Right.
Yeah.
So just for clarity there,
Sure.
I mean, if this BIA board wants to change the budget, they pretty much have to do it now.
Absolutely. Yeah, or call a special meeting. That's how.
Or call it. This is what's going forward from council.
That's correct.
And like to be clear, council really doesn't care about the nitty gritty of it. What council cares about is whether you're going to raise the levy.
Right.
So as long as if this makes sense for BIA, it's fine. If this board wants to like, jack up the levy, that's what we'll go back.
Yes, and on average, the levy is about $14,000. It is per property that's in the area of the BIA. It's not a levy that's based on the size of the property. It's the same amount for each one. It historically was $318.18, and it's levied on the actual physical tax bill. That's where it's seen. So you're correct that when the BIA puts forward their budget, normally an incoming doesn't do much change unless, say, you went a completely different direction and you weren't doing at all what was in the past or the programs or the plans. Then of course you need to change the budget because you're not planning to do those things. But because I don't know, but I might assume that perhaps this committee at a starting point would like to go that direction. The most important thing is to let me know if you require greater than what you've levied in the past. And so 14,000 is where we're at. And then throughout your term, you will also take a look at the properties there to ensure that all the properties are recorded, that we're not missing someone within that BIA area because you're losing that revenue. And like I said, that's $318.18 per roll.
But Kimberly, is there better one now?
Sure.
Is the BIA's role to figure out if problems?
The BIA has always reviewed, Bridge, they reviewed with, who would they review with the planning and building department for when they reviewed the last time? I'm just not sure if you would have pulled in assistance. Not sure.
I don't think I've ever encountered that.
No, yeah, actually, I think there was a
It was
question.
circulated, yeah.
Yeah, there was
So
a question.
You
about-
can review that as part of the committee and take a look and make sure. But historically, I mean, whoever's in that area has been there, but what if you all of a sudden have a new bill, right? And it hasn't come on board yet, or hasn't been identified, or what have you, you'd want to make sure. So if you see something new, it doesn't hurt to have the conversation, just make sure. You can always check with myself or Bridge, and we can look it up for you and make sure. But the revenue portion of the 14,000 is basically $318.18 per roll. Okay, and just, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was just gonna say, it follows the map in the bylaw. So when Kimberly refers to a new bill, that wouldn't necessarily be captured in the roll file as having a BIA levy. If it's an existing building, the levy will go with the actual building. So if somebody were to sell a building, the levy should go with. So, but if there's a new build, that's where sometimes that's where it's good to kind of, connect with, building and planning and finance. Again, I can be your liaison.
And there, just for your information, it's only commercial and industrial. It doesn't affect any residential.
Or institution.
Yeah. Okay, that's that piece. As far as an overview of the processing, I did just lightly touch on the fact that we have a treasurer chair who work with our department primarily. But again, this is just left to them. And that's the key for the ones we review today is that this is a larger role of the committee and you work together. So if you've appointed someone to do work for you and you are the liaison for that particular piece, you should be looking after getting that invoice over to your treasurer. Your treasurer shouldn't be on the phone last minute trying to gather this information. So again, teamwork, collaboratively, and these positions don't have to be difficult. So do I need to request a summary that I put together to be added because it's not directly in?
Do you want it as public information?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can definitely do it.
Okay. So I'll let you do that. That's before.
So Sherry, what's gone on is the treasurer has provided an additional document that she would like to have circulated to the committee. So to be able to do that, to make it a public document, we need a motion, and then I will add this to the website after the conclusion of the meeting. So if you're
Okay.
okay, we'll call a motion to accept additional materials. Moved
Yes.
by- Okay. We'll say moved by you, Sherry, and seconded by Chloe. So I'll call the vote. Chloe?
Yes.
Sarah Cooling?
Yes.
Kathy Lysette?
Yes.
Sherry Susie?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Huntley?
Yes.
Perfect. Proceed.
If you take one and pass it on, please. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So I know you can't see this unfortunately, so Kimberly will review this, Sherry, and for members of the public.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we'll start with the overview page that I provided first. Thank you. So we have touched on, I just want to give an overview of primarily how we're working together between our departments. We are here to assist. So if there's a complication, you don't understand something, don't go alone. Michael, I'll give you my business card, call me, we work together. This isn't for you to be in isolation. BIA documents are to be provided by the chair and or the treasurer. as per the budget timeline. The second page that I provided with the budget timeline, that's usually passed through council somewhere between June, July, and August annually every year. And it just talks about our process in-house. But if you want to pay attention to looking down capital and operating budget data upload and reconciliations, that was happening in October. So as a mindset, I know that you usually have your AGM, is it November? Okay, so a preliminary draft of what you've decided, you have to make sure that that's circulated to your members as well. And then you have a meeting and then you provide that to us. So you have to watch these deadlines. But as we move forward, you'll notice we're still having meetings as of the 25th of November. And then we have to post for the first meeting for conference on the 7th page, which is Thursday, December 8th. Remembering that 1 week prior, we have the clerk. So that means I have to have it ready and available by the 1st. And therefore, you would want to provide if there were any amendments or changes in advance, so I could definitely get in your budget. So make sure that you're watching the timeline. When we have a new timeline, we'll circulate that to you again. So this is just a guide. The dates change slightly, but we stay within usually the same parameters. The only change that happened this year, because we had potentially newly elected council, we wanted to push out a few dates. So we normally have a budget meeting at the end of January. It was pushed to the first week of February. So you might notice that we're going back to like the January, and the February is always that final approval as a family day. So there's revisions. Even if you don't get in first draft, there's new conversation. Something's happened, you realize, oh, we want to do this, not that. Just get those changes through, but make sure that they're approved here. I don't receive anything that hasn't been approved by the committee. So that's the budget. The minutes Cindy has talked on, which is fantastic, and the minutes do support the audit and also saves you a whole lot of time for the auditors calling and asking questions because they have all the backup that they need for that. BIA invoices, they need to be signed and coded so that in your package where you received the GL, BIA has the GL listings on the left-hand side. So
Right here on the screen.
yeah, so you see where it says 01-4750. You're usually looking at the expense portions. You're basically going to code where it is. So if it's the actual AGM, it's 01-4750-3735. That's where you're going to spend your funds. You would sign that off on there, and then the minutes would support that. So what happens is we run that check run for you in advance, anticipating your liquidity approval, because that's the way this board has been working. Because you usually wouldn't bring something forward that you haven't discussed in advance to have go forward at a certain cost. And then those minutes support that. Again, another measure that will keep you out of being dragged into the audit for further information, because you already have approval, you can move forward. That's not to say you wouldn't have a last minute walk on. So if you've processed everything and you're bringing something else in, that can happen too, but just make sure that you have it in the minutes, because that's the support you need. Because if you don't, you would definitely be questioned by the auditors as to why that was approved. And also, when you're choosing to do a project, there should be an offset limit that you've decided to do for that project. And if for any reason the invoice comes in greater than that, you should have a conversation with the BIA in advance before proceeding. You shouldn't just go ahead and then ask for forgiveness later. That's not the way that it works. So the BIA invoices are signed and coded and provided to us. So that's that email I was saying, if I could get a week before you have the meeting, I will then make sure that our staff has the checks ready for the day that you come. If you're both here, you don't have to run around and find each other for a signature. So I'm being, I guess, to Sarah and Sherry. And it's just the most efficient process wherever possible. Otherwise, you're asking for a lot of personal time, tracking each other down, running all over the place. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to everyone on the committee. It'd just be better if we could run like that. But again, things happen. BIA deposits. So you'll take the deposits to the bank. We don't have a bank in Millbrook, obviously, anymore. So we're at the TD Bank on Lansdowne. I will go in with you and make sure that your signatures are set up so that you can sign those checks. It requires 2 signatures. So again, if someone's away, I'm your backup. I'm pleased to help. And then you bring that information from your BIA deposit to us, and we record that in the GL. So remember, I was saying it's more administrative and not so much financial. You bring all the documentation, get it ready. We'll do the GL work and get you back your check. You do the deposits, get it ready and bring it to the bank. Come back to us with the information and we'll do the work and get it into the GL. That way, anytime you're having a meeting, Sarah, you might have a meeting and they'll say, can we have an update on our actuals? It's a spit out from the software, right? I'm not trying to recalculate or do anything, because that's what's in there. So that would be preferred again, and we'll give you whichever reporting you want, when you want it, when the updates are. It can be monthly. So basically, if you have your checks in advance, I can get those processed. We can run that for you and perhaps meet her deadline so that you have it even on the agenda. So that would be fantastic. But again, it's a time thing. And then BIA bank statements. So if you receive the bank statements directly, we ask that you make sure that you provide them to us. Try to do your bank reconciliation for them. There have been times where bank statements crossed and someone's forgotten that they went to the bank, but that's deposited and they didn't give us the paperwork. And so we're going through and we're looking for that. So we might reach out to you to say, we haven't received this paperwork. And then once you provide it, we can do that for you and get that all in there. Financial support, again, is the GL entry. It's the accounts payable of issuing checks, not signing them. We clear all your BIA checks, so you know what's left over. So if there are ones that haven't been cleared, you can help support that at any time. If something needs to be reissued or have you, we can provide the actual budget reports and do the reconciliations. So that's basically a summary of how we help one another. It's quite administrative, but you shouldn't feel like you're doing bookkeeping. That's not the case.
So Sarah will have to start like going to the bank physically to deposit checks.
Yes,
Can you not do that via like online?
to deposit a check.
Yeah.
No, a check is a physical check.
Yeah, you can do that.
Are you asking, can
With
she
this
e-transfer?
No, with a scan.
So you take a
doesn't have to
picture and-
physically do that.
So yeah, on your
Oh, I
phone, you
see
take a
what you're
picture of the check and it
Right.
goes into the account.
Yeah, so if they have been issued a card, an access card, we have to take a look at the account because that wasn't the previous format, the previous.
Just so she doesn't
Share,
do that
yeah.
either.
Yeah, and if that's available, obviously, we should bring it in, yeah, but we could look into that and see if that's available on the account, and then if not, and there's an additional fee for different types of to allow that to occur, whatever, then you just bring it back to get approval and move on. So I thought you were meant. Okay. So yeah. It's a probably a bit.
Yeah, I have my stamp.
Yeah. Okay, so that's great. And then I know I touched on the auditors, so if you could mark these, well, the auditors are going to audit those who are responsible for the books at the time. So we are going into our audit in March for last year. None of you were the ones today that are appointed, they're not part of that. If you want to be included in this year's audit just for processing, you can, but I've already sent the email out to the previous chair and treasurer to request the information. I can send the email as well to Sherry and Sarah if you want to see what we've asked for. Again, we provide all the components that are within our financial software. Because for the actual audit, it's the individuals who are responsible for the financials at the time. So that doesn't involve you. But next year, you'll get the email from me for sure and be available for that. They're usually here at the municipality for 1 week on site. So hopefully that's convenient for coming up and meeting with them. They also do off-site the following week or a hybrid, and they can also coordinate some sort of a hybrid meeting with you if that's not possible. And those days don't work for you. So that's the other piece there. And I just want to speak about the purchasing bylaw. So that was attached. And if we could go to, it's page 4. Keep going. Yeah. Right there, way up top. Okay. So the BIA doesn't typically have humongous expenditures. So the first line there, we talk about direct acquisition, procurement of less than or equal to $15,000. You can directly purchase. It's recommended to have quotes for comparison. You can find it. Now let's see what page.
It is page 176 of your agenda. They're not numbered though.
It
That's
looks-
what
it looks
we have to
like-
create. Yeah,
Read out,
we-
read out for the budget.
Yeah, I know. That day.
And it'll be page 4 of 22.
Oh, towards the end. Okay.
Start at the top of it.
Yeah, 20 pages from the back. is probably-
At the top, it's page 4 of 22. Yeah, you're in the right document, just no.
Nope.
Yeah, you're in the right, and 4 of 22 at the top.
Or just look at the screen.
I'll look at the screen.
If you want to highlight it, that's all.
Oh,
Page 4 of 22.
Oh,
You're
I'm
looking at the
sorry.
top.
Yeah.
That was just help you get
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. So primarily, normally, the expenditures for direct acquisition would apply to the BIA. Basically, you can go out and you can purchase for $15,000 less. It is recommended, so if we go down to Cindy, it's next page, actually page 6, going one more. Oh, sorry, it was at the bottom of the first, I'm sorry, 5.1, yeah, right there. So the summary of that page where I was talking about direct acquisition for the 15,000, and then if you want to read on the details, but basically, authorized to make direct purchases up to 15,000, funds says, okay, it says department heads, but this is our municipal bylaw. And then we can use pre-approved suppliers as well. We do recommend receiving more than one quote when possible. But that's basically the requirement there. Once you step to the next level, so if you're gonna go over 15 to 50,000, that's the next one down. You'll notice on 521, at least three quotes whenever possible. So we call that our minimum. We look for three. Sometimes there might be a unique situation and we can explain to council why we couldn't get that third quote or what have you, but normally three. So if you're looking above 15, I just want you to have that in your mind. I doubt you'd be at the next process request to tender. You never know, but it's going to make sure that you're aware. So that's why this was attached, just to give you some guidelines, because you are following municipal policies, and this is our purchasing policy bylaw. And Sarah, if you have any questions, or Sherry, please feel free to reach out to me, and I can help clarify on those things as well. Okay, so
Considering our annual revenue is 13.
Yeah.
yeah, your problem is pretty correct.
Yeah.
There is no visa for the BIA. So sometimes there have been occurrences there where you needed a visa and you had to use municipal visa. You can contact myself and we'll make arrangements to do so. And I think the property tax bill, like I said, it does have the levy. Our property taxes go out, our bill goes out twice a year, but the one that goes out in January is only an income. So basically it's 50% of what we paid last year, because we still don't know if county or municipal rate at that point. The actual bill goes out the first week of July. So those are the bills where you will see the BIA listed on there. So if anybody's wondering when does it get billed, it's always in our final tax bill, which goes out in July.
So we don't split the BIA levy in half this month.
We take it, and it's a half value of last year. Once you get your new property tax bill, it's your new assessment value times the new rates, and then deducting on the interim payments made to date. So it's just a calculation. It's not actually charging your tax bill yet. Deposit for your taxes. You're prepaying.
And you said a lot, and really what you, so there's nothing for the BIA in that first half.
There's no identification towards the BIA on the interim bill. Whatever you were charged in the previous year. So for example, 2022, the total dollar value, you're going to be charged what's called a 50% levy.
I understand tax. Just the cash flow for BIA. There's nothing that initial tax bill for BIA levy. It's only in the second.
No, it would, because you have 50% of.
Okay, so it is 50%. Isn't that first?
Yeah, it's 50% of what was paid.
It's just not identified.
It's not
Just
identified.
not that.
And neither is it by taxes either.
Yep.
It's a deposit. The municipal act permits an interim tax levy to receive 50% of what someone paid the previous year
Right.
on their taxes. And then the actual tax levy identifies CBA tax rates for all three, and then also the BIA levy. So it goes out, and then it just deducts basically the deposit you previously paid through the interim. So dollar value, it's in there, but you're not going to see it anywhere. So if you said to someone, you can see it under interim, you cannot. You can only see 50% of last year. Yeah.
They can't read the interim bylaw that comes past.
Yes,
It looks
yes,
like all of that,
yeah.
lately.
Yeah. So the final, if anybody's asking, where do they bill that? And we collect that for you and we give that to you. One small caveat, HST, because we're a municipality, and you're under us, you don't end up as a result paying the full 13%. You pay basically 1.76%. It's a rebate program, a municipal rebate program. We do that calculation for you with each invoice that's paid every time or every year when the auditors audit. Then we take a look at that and we cut you a check to refill your account for value that we got on your behalf as the rebate, municipal rebate. We take care of all that for you, and we just basically provide you check. So that's basically covered. Are there any questions about finances or structure or process that you want to discuss? Okay, I look forward to getting to know you, Sarah and Sherry, more in person.
So that rebate you're talking about, is that the PSB rebate?
No, that's the municipal HST rebate.
Oh,
It's
okay,
because we're a municipality that we're eligible and you're under us, so therefore you are also in it, also eligible, but you have to go through our program under us. And
Okay.
so we all that and on your behalf, and then we receive it, we also give it back to you.
It's a nice checkbook.
I think 1 year it was 2 years in a row. Right? Yeah.
Okay, so if there's no questions, what we will need is a motion to receive the 2023 BIA budget information, the payment process and funding authority, purchasing policy by law. Perfect. Sarah Cooling. Chloe Dewars. Then I'll just call the vote. Deputy Mayor Huntley,
Yes.
Sherry Susie,
yes.
Kathy Lysette,
Yes.
Sarah Cooling.
Yes.
And Chloe Dewars.
Yeah.
Perfect. So our next item of business is our minutes from our previous meeting that was held on January 12th, 2023. So at this point, Sherry, you would call for a mover and a seconder to approve the minutes as presented unless your executive believes there is an amendment that is required within your minutes.
Okay, all right, so I'll call for the minutes to be approved in the meeting.
Hi, Chloe Dewars and Deputy Mayor Huntley, perfect, and then recorded vote would be Chloe Dewars, Sherry Susie,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Huntley,
Yes.
Sarah Cooling, yes, and Kathy Lysette,
Yes.
and those are approved. So the next item of business would be delegations, and we don't have any delegations. So now we'll turn it over to Bridget to speak to website updates.
Okay. So, right now, the BIA has a website that sits within the township website. It's under downtown Park. And I can send you all a link. It was a decision back in 2019, I believe, when the township was redoing the website, that the BIA wanted to stay within the township's website. So what that gives you, there is a fee that you do pay, a portion of the subscription fees to the modules that we do have. But it gives you access to a calendar module. You have your own BIA directory. You have a forms module, so you can do online forms, plus the actual iCreate software. When we initially launched the website, there was training that was offered for staff here at the township and also the BIA. There were 2 members of the former committee who participated in the training. They're no longer on the committee. We run into this as staff where we train staff and then we have changeover. So we are doing refresher training in March. So if you'd like somebody from this committee to participate, we can definitely do that. Alternatively, if you want, I'm happy to do the updates on your behalf. So there's events, there's calendar, you use our agenda software. No, they don't use eScribe, no. But when you send your agenda packages, you can send it to me. I will load it onto the website so it's available to you. So I'll let you kind of sit with that for a bit. If you, if you have any questions, I'll send you the link. You can poke around, take a look at it. If there's things you want to change, let me know. That I'm happy to make those changes, and I can send you at the training date if you want somebody to participate. But alternatively, if not, then, I'm happy to do it on your behalf.
Would there be an issue with a non-board member assisting you? But a member, but not a board member?
That's a good question. No, I don't think so, because in the past you had a non-board member doing the training. So having said that, yeah,
You're
would
thinking
not
of
be.
Tina? Or,
correct, yes.
yeah, and she wasn't a member even.
She was part of the decorating committee. I
She
think.
was,
So
yeah, but
she was
not a
subcommittee.
BIA member as such. I was-
Not official.
Yeah, but it doesn't, it still answers the question. We should be able, if there's somebody, one of our members who doesn't want to be on the board, but likes,
Yeah,
With-
as long as
The only qualifier there, I'd say, is the word as a whole. Has to say. yes
you're okay with that.
with that
Yeah.
person. It can't be just some random.
And we on our level, as the administrator. of the-
Or not Joe. That actually doesn't work.
So as the,
bad.
No.
as the administrator of the site, I can control access in terms of what members can access. So you wouldn't necessarily be able to access pages within the corporate website, but you can access your own pages. There is a level of control that we can apply.
I wasn't thinking of anybody in
No,
particular,
yeah,
but it was just
It's
a,
a good question.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
I was thinking of you perhaps being overloaded and engaging members and.
Yeah, if you have a member that wants to
I don't,
do
but-
that, yeah, but in the future, yeah. Mhm.
But to follow up on that, is also the social media.
That's where I was going at.
So we really kind of gotta, sort out- if we don't have to do it today,
Yeah, I don't do your social media.
yeah, the social media is not Bridget's.
Yeah.
I do the corporate social media. But I do not do the BIA social media. You have Facebook, Teams, Instagram.
You name it, we got it.
Do you have Twitter?
Yeah.
Of course. You do. Oh, good job. I think in the past. it
Don't have
has-
TikTok yet.
I was about to say.
That's huge coming up.
That's all you do.
I can look after the social media part of things. I'm on my computer every day, all day, right?
It's usually a couple people that then keep their eye on it. Like it's too much for one. And it's just kind of a little bit more of a balance to have a couple people.
Just a quick, gonna look at that at the next meeting.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Do you guys have a policy around your social media process?
We did work on one. I don't know where it ended up, to be honest.
I think that could be good, and you could include that it could be in it within your terms of reference or within the policy. You could include that it could be anyone within membership. It would give somebody guidelines on what, can be put up there and what can't be put up on there. Social media can be a great benefit, but it can be a beast in its same.
Yeah, and I honestly, whoever does step up to do the social media, I think I've had a couple of social media, like quick training things. I think there's a couple like guideline things. Because what you don't want to end up with is, over promotion of a single business.
Right.
You don't want to step into politically, dangerous landmine zones. Really.
However, though, if you were posting everything that was coming in, as long as it's appropriate to be reposted, then you're not.
Yeah, but appropriate is such a.
It is.
It's such a.
I think it's really important that the executive committee finalizes policy before you.
And
I think we got a long way down the road. I just don't- Sure,
Has it ever been part of one of your agendas?
it was.
Okay, so maybe we can get Bridget to look
So-
through the.
we as a municipality have a social media policy. It does provide a guideline as to posting. There is even a flow chart at the back that kind of has, when to avoid stepping into political landmines, to avoid stepping into online arguments, because things can, just hypothetically, if there's, it can help you kind of, so we can share that with you, and you can use that as a benchmark.
I think Sherry understands very well all of those issues.
Yes, I do actually, unfortunately. And I don't mind looking after the social media and, you know, I'm on my computer every day for work anyways. So, yeah, as long as I know, you know, if you guys have the policies up in place but I can look after the Instagram and Facebook account for sure.
Well, let's put that on the agenda for next meeting. Get that started. Like, it's not a one-person job, right? Like it's, and then it takes the burden off of one person at the same time.
So perhaps Stephanie or Huntley will add a website and social media process and policy.
Yeah, I think we would talk about discussion.
Item 16 on this agenda does have items to be included for the next meeting, so we'll just make sure that's passed on to our secretary. I should have it pretty much.
So the next item on the agenda is 14.2, the annual conference. So because of COVID, this has kind of fallen off from radar. I think it's safe for me to say that. The Ontario Business Improvement Association does do an annual conference. They are doing one this year. It's April 11th to the 12th, but I will confirm that date. So the only thing is, I don't know if you budgeted for anybody to attend. You have in the past budgeted for 1 or 2 people to attend. But I don't believe you've done that this year. So you would probably have to amend or.
Well, let's put that on the agenda.
Yeah,
next.
yeah.
So, sorry, Kimberly, I'm just looking at this now. This is the 2022 budget to actual. Do we have the 23 budget?
That's the 2022 budget to actual, and in the right-hand side, same format.
Oh, we're not gonna check that.
But, and as long as you're not changing your 14,000, even though I realize it'll be after, what council has approved in the budget is the 14,000. If you're doing a reallocation with it, you
We
would
can
get it
still
into
do
the
that.
minutes, you go ahead, do that. Perhaps you would not spend X amount of dollars somewhere else in order to then come on or people to this conference, and you can do that internally, and I just need a copy of that so I can update it, and then Moulton will support it, and you are fine. But as long as you're not asking for more,
Right.
and then sometimes though, if it's absolutely not possible, you might have a little bit in your surplus that you want to draw down on, which would change that number, and you can also have that conversation with me as well, for the surplus as well. So yeah.
Bridget, do you,
Where is the annual conference typically held?
It's a really good question. I wish I had the answer.
I'll Google it while we're talking.
It's
Ontario BIA.
it's Ontario. Yeah.
I'll find it.
any idea of cost? Because in the past, it's been prohibitive, and that is why I think it was required that the person that went would have to pay for their own accommodations and.
I think accommodations are covered as part of the registration fee. I think there's different tiers to that, but I can send you the
Yeah,
cost.
I
Let's bring that, like, let's bring it to the next.
We need to know what the costs are, and if,
In London, yeah. Sorry.
So we can find out what the cost is. It's in London.
Yeah.
okay,
And then the other thing is, like, we don't have is, as you alluded to, a surplus. We also have reserves, like you have money in the bank.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's
singular.
Yeah, and then and that's exactly where when you see we're pulling down the surplus. we're pulling
Yeah.
down, but yeah.
Yeah.
So there is money that we can, if we feel that it's worthwhile. And in all honesty, like these conferences, I think are vital.
I do too.
And I think that in the past, I'm not sure the cost was the issue. I think the issue was time.
Time, exactly.
Yeah. I
The
think
conference
it
is
was-
only $1,000 if you go for both days, which is a relatively.
And that's accommodations and food included, right?
Food for sure. I don't know what accommodations to get click on that. Are you guys a member of it?
Yeah.
So then you get an even better discount. If you have more than 3 people go, you get, there's some options for consideration. For sure.
Yeah, we typically did budget for it, but it always landed whoever, like typically the chair is the person who goes
Yeah.
and they just couldn't. So after, several years of them not being able to go, we just stopped budgeting for it.
I think because it's it's a 2-day time commitment. So it's 2 days away from your business. So I think that was a bit of a challenge. That being said, it is a really good conference. I attended one and I learned a ton of stuff. It was really, really good. When I first started here, the municipality thought it might be a good idea for me to attend, and I did. It is a really, really good conference. We can bring that back to the next meeting. The township is actually hosting the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs. They do a Community Economic Development 101 session. They also do, I think, a 102 or a 2.0, but right now they're just doing the 101. They usually do it every 4 years to kind of time with new councillor members. It's a great program. OMAFRA has a lot of programs for downtown revitalization. Ontario Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs. Okay. Your visitors did all our acronyms, so I think to be fair. So OMAFRA. We accessed OMAFRA programming. They have programming, but they also have funding programs. We've accessed it for our downtown revitalization strategy. So there wasn't a funding attached to it, but they did come and lead sessions on how to go through and do a downtown revitalization strategy. That strategy is on our website and it is still applicable. Out of that strategy, we developed streetscape design guidelines. And from that, we developed the community improvement plan, which is the grant program that is available to, it was available just to Millbrook. We just started it with Millbrook. And I'm hitting Councillor Huntley because he was a huge champion for it. And it expanded recently to the rest of the township. So the OMAFRA has a lot of really, really great programs. They have business retention and expansion programs. So this community economic development session, it's free. It's at the CMCC. Space is filling up. So I'll send you the link to register March 3rd. It's from 3 till 6. So it might be a good time for some of you, might be a bad time for others. They are.
What was that date again for the Community Economic Conference?
March 30th.
Okay, thank you.
So they are doing, I believe they're live streaming it, so a copy of it would be available for you to watch later on. But if you can attend, I would encourage you to attend.
Now, is that open to the public as well?
You have to register.
You have to register, yeah. I think they're trying to keep it to municipal representatives, but OMAFRA is handling the registration side. So I mean, I think you could attend, but I think they're trying to keep it to municipal representation.
Is it online and in person or only one or the other?
No, it's online and in person. So I think you can attend by Zoom if you want to attend, and then there is a video copy that would be available.
Okay, and then same for the annual, or not the annual conference, when you talked about, there was another.
The OBIA.
That's the session, but the
OBIA session.
Ontario Business. Yeah, is that the same thing?
That I don't know if it's in person. I don't know if they're live streaming.
Because I know just since COVID, there's been a lot of online, so that might cut like some of the travel costs if someone still wanted to attend.
Honestly, though, it's not the same experience.
No, it's not, no, but if that's all that's available.
It's a good place to network with other BIAs, right? See what other communities are doing. You know, other communities the same size as yours. The OMAFRA programs tend to be focused to small rural communities. So again,
Tiny towns.
tiny towns, yeah, that's a program of theirs. We also participated in their VICE program, the what's the acronym, something, and so we went and we did an exchange.
Yeah, we didn't exchange with tweet, because, I don't know. Yeah, I forget what TWI stands for, but we did that.
But we did an exchange with a community of similar size and, we went and kind of reviewed theirs and they came and reviewed ours. So, and then they give you a detailed report of what they've done. So they've got, that's really good.
We didn't secret shoppers, and then they came here as secret shoppers and did an assessment about the amenities and the service and what they found here and rooms for improvement and.
And they love those.
They love us, yeah, yeah, downtown BIA Sean.
They said we were leaps about.
Yeah. Yeah, they lot.
Yeah,
Great.
a lot of best practices.
Gotta read all the hard work that's gone in here.
Okay. So does anybody have any questions? Okay.
I think, Sherry, what we'll need is just a motion to add item 14.1 and 14.2 to the upcoming agenda, and then just to receive the economic and community development 101 session for information. So we'll need a mover in a second.
Quick question, why would you need a motion to add it to the agenda for the next meeting?
I think because we're adding social media, and I think because we want to talk about the policy, and I think you're gonna have money. Normally, I think we could just leave it and it wouldn't have been its own item, and you could just add it under 16. But because it's an actual item on the agenda, we need to do what we did about that.
Oh, I
as that item.
Okay.
So in my head, I think it's gonna be clear.
Bigger question is this arising from, or is it?
No, I think to be truthful, you would probably move it forward under 16, but because we actually, you will not probably have each item identified as defined as we have, but because we wanted to break everything down.
Yes.
So in your normal meetings, if you say, I want to have this, you will put that under one motion under 16.
Okay.
Because it's broken out already as 14.1 and 14.2
Right, okay,
is the only reason we're doing it today.
I got you.
And to be truthful, if I don't, Deputy Mayor Huntley always says, don't need a motion to receive that. So, you know, he's procedurally on task. He honestly really does understand this, but it is important because then you can say, everybody here understands that this information was received or what direction you take it. So generally speaking, no, items that you want added, you would add under whatever it won't always be 16, but whatever you're at.
Okay.
Great question though.
The other part of it though is the motion actually makes you like know that you need to. put it on.
Right.
So it doesn't get.
Yeah, exactly. This keeps it on there. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so we need a mover and a seconder. Perfect.
I'll move it.
Perfect. Sherry Susie. And then recorded vote, Sherry Susie,
Yes.
Kathy Lysette,
Yes.
Chloe Dewhurst, Sarah Cooling.
Yes.
And Deputy Mayor Huntley.
Yes.
Perfect. Nice, so we'll turn it back to you, Sherry. So your next item would just be if there was any correspondence, and this is just a default that I've added here. As far as I know, I don't have any correspondence. Does anybody? This would be an item on your agenda that if you knew something was coming forward, or you want something for consideration, you would add it here, or you could add it under your general business. But if it was just a correspondence that didn't necessarily need an action, it was just more information to the committee.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
How, like the committees, the subcommittees that were in place in the previous under the previous committee, have they dissolved or are they just gonna be like,
I think
like the
that
decorating?
was for our next meeting, I think we need to discuss our organization,
okay,
right? And what the subcommittees we need and start to align people.
okay,
Very good question. Hypothetically, though, I would say it's dissolved. If those new members want to reapply when you guys do your call for your subcommittees, absolutely, they can reapply. But I would say that in theory, they dissolve. This is a new board, this is a new executive, it's a fresh start. While we're on subcommittees, I think for the benefit of your executive, it's very, very important to get subcommittees. You can't do it all on your own. You have a lot of agendas, you have a lot of initiatives and events and different things that you have underway. So it's very important that create subcommittees. And I think it's important that you have one of your executives as your liaison with that subcommittee so that someone's reporting back to your group. I think it was something that might not have been in place in the previous terms, but I think it's critical that one of you sit on your subcommittees.
so would you say the organization, like how would you like?
I'm going to call it subcommittees is what I was going to put in the minutes, but if you wanted,
No, it's they're not.
and so we'll just,
No, it's just, let's, establish our subcommittees.
Yeah, okay.
And on top of that one, I don't know this looks right time, but I think but I don't think this board has enough people,
No,
to be honest.
no.
And so how do we go about calling another wave of, like, we have our management team now, but we definitely need more hands.
Here's one right here.
Yeah, like, exactly.
So if I can make a recommendation, what I would recommend is this executive directs me to post again to fill the vacancies, to increase your complement to 10, which would increase allow for 4 more applications to come in. If you know of anyone within your DBA, please encourage them to apply. You have to be within those parameters. So I am not saying we did not get other applications. What I'm saying is everybody that put an application in that was within the area was appointed to the committee. So please make sure if you're talking to the people, you're trying to recruit more people, that they are within the BIA boundary. And if there's anybody externally that has not applied or did apply and it didn't make it for whatever reason, please make sure those people are encouraged to reapply. So if this committee decides to direct me, I will do a post and we'll send it through the Millbrook Times with the Millbrook, So maybe maybe you can direct me to run a social media blast, because if we wait for the Millbrook Times, your next meeting is March 2nd, and then it will be April before you get people appointed.
Does it have to be 1 month? To be honest?
No, absolutely not. We can just keep running this.
Can we leave it open for like a couple months?
Sure you can, but the problem is
Until
that
the complement's full.
yes and no, because then I'm keeping a track of what I believe you guys are going. The council is going to appoint the 4 extra people that I finally have hit that threshold, and I
So you
can't.
don't want to do it.
What I'm saying from council's perspective, because council is the one that has to do the appointment. If you leave it open for 2 months, you have nobody until I present it to council in closed session, and then you appoint your appointee.
Gotcha.
I would rather, and I know I'm setting myself up for a lot of work, run this 3 or 4 times throughout your year or your term to make sure you have your complement, then wait. And what if you only get 1 application, you leave it open for 2 months? Like, I think I would rather run it a few times for you if you don't get it on your first intake. We already know you have 1 member for sure.
Makes sense.
Are you interested in becoming part of it? Is that, or I'm not to put you in the hot spot, but there's potential members that still.
So, I
Or the
mean,
fourth line.
but the fourth line always ends. Like, why not have a vote? Right, like,
I'll talk to the powers that be.
Yeah.
At one time, fourth line was on board.
Is the library, that's.
Carla
not a-
attends, but she's not part
You
of.
can't be as because it's
That's pretty true.
It says it within your mandate. When we go back to the original bylaw that's included in here, it says it has to be made up of your members. And because Carla and the Public Library Board are their own entity,
Yeah.
I would have them participate. If you want them to provide comment, that's fine, but I would not have them as a member of your executive.
Well, because they are not, they don't pay the levy.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you're, so,
They're not members.
yeah, gotcha.
They're
It has to be
like
part of your
honorary
membership.
Yeah.
Yes.
on the table. And that applies to the Legion and to community care as well.
Why can't you?
Because they're not, well, yes and no. I don't know. That's a tricky one because I believe the community care doesn't pay, but Andy Stevenson does.
Yeah, it goes according to the role of the property owner.
Yes.
They recoup your cost of your.
So either of them could be on that basis.
Yeah, community care often attends. I mean, why not be a voting member?
Mhm.
And then for.
I've attended care before as well.
So just consideration, so is it something that this executive would like to direct staff to do, or do you? Yes. That's like a motion for staff, or there's like,
At times with
It doesn't.
the number of people we have.
Yeah.
It helps with quorum and it helps with workflow. There's a fair bit that goes on and it's a lot to ask.
If someone's sick and someone misses a meeting, then we don't have quorum.
I think the other side of it is your events too. The events are huge, huge responsibility. They're huge time. For lack of a better word.
They're a huge success.
That's right, they are, absolutely.
There's been subcommittees for those, but they just dwindled over the time the virus was on in particular. So, yeah.
But I think part of what the comment was every subcommittee needs an executive sitting on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
To liaison, but we can't let the subcommittees run over.
And what are the subcommittees? Like, I know there's a decorating one.
Decorating and events are the two big ones, and I think, you know, that's what we need to discuss next meeting is, do we, is there other committees we need, you know, are those the ones we need to focus on? And it'll be an open dialogue. Those are the two biggies, for sure.
Can we just go back to the annual conference for a minute? I just went to check on it. The dates are April 16th to 19th. The registration is $8.25 per person before February 28th and $9.25 a person after you register after February 28th.
So typically, Sherry, the chair is the person who goes to it. And if we want you to go to it this year and you're able to go to it, then you're fighting a motion now to set funds for it. So if you're willing to go and you can commit, then I will make a motion to move funds out of the reserves.
Okay, so it runs from April 16th to 19th. And they're saying you can go, I'm getting it right off of OBIAA.com. So that I just want to see when it was. It doesn't include the gala dinner and then the hotels, I mean, are going to start anywhere from $100 up. So I don't mind going and I don't have a problem going, but is it something that is in our budget to do?
It will be in about 5 minutes.
So it.
Okay.
You
Does
just said it
anybody else want to attend?
does not include, right?
It doesn't
Well-
include the gala dinner. No, that's what it says.
So
Does it include the hotel, Sherry, just for clarification?
No, it does not include the hotel.
So while you're at least trying to figure it out, do you want to do some quick little math with your calculator there and figure out roughly what you think you're gonna need?
So
For your mileage.
I would say
4 days.
$1,500. $3,000.
Well, she's got 2 hotel nights. She's gonna have her travel to London,
3 hotel nights.
3 hotel nights if she goes down the night before.
No.
Plus her travel to
16th, 17th, 18th.
So a lot of the times they go in the day, because it's like
The first day.
But that's still 3 nights. It's 16
Yeah.
through the night.
16th night, 17th night, 18th night, you're right.
So
So 3 nights, plus your mileage to London at whatever the mileage rate is now, and then plus your college scholarship.
That's $3,000.
So this is what I was getting at before, is that it was prohibitive. We've got $14,000. It'd be less than, and we're taking 3,000. This is what I meant, that yes, it sounds great at first. It's only $925, but now it's 3,000.
And I think as a board, like it might not necessarily have to be an annual thing, but I think it's definitely worthwhile.
It's
out of the gate.
worthwhile. Yeah, I would still, even at $3,000, I would be in favor, and I would second the motion.
That sounds like a company like.
And that,
3,000.
sorry, so Sherry, that means you'd be driving to London on the 16th for the first day of the conference and driving home on the 19th on the last day of the conference.
Yes.
And you're comfortable with that?
Pardon me?
And you're good with that?
Yes.
So I will move up that limit of $3,000 for the chair to attend the conference
You can help me with the voter rank
from
transfer
the
fund
reserve, but
reserve for Sherry Susie chair to attend the ODBIA conference, April 16th to 19th, and London, the upset limit of $3,000.
Can Sherry provide the financial backup so that we have the accurate numbers?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
for the budget or for the,
So that I can do the appropriation, it's an upset limit of 3, she's going to tell me the actual cost and have the real actual cost in there for the fine.
Yeah.
Just to make sure it's accurate. But it's just, it won't.
I just
go
need
up.
to make sure I get registered before the 28th, or because it'll go up another $100.
exactly.
Yeah, you're not gonna be over 3,000. No. What would your mileage get? $200 maybe each way. Yeah. Okay, so let's call the vote. So the vote will be Kathy Lysette,
Yes.
Chloe Dewhurst.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor Huntley,
Yes.
Sherry Susie,
Yes.
Sarah Cooling. Yes, perfect. So we will not be adding the conference now to the next.
No, we're good.
That, all right.
So did you want me to register? Or do you guys will will the township register for me, or should I register?
Connect with Kimberly, she has the credit card.
Yeah, normally we receive, you would register yourself and then you would fill out the forms, which Bridget will provide for a check requisition to reimburse you. That's the normal process.
Okay,
But if you absolutely and must use the visa, we can make accommodations, but it's not the usual method.
no, that's okay. I don't mind booking. I just wanted to know what the procedure was. I don't have a problem registering and booking the hotel and then just submitting my receipts. That's not a big deal.
And that'd be great, Sherry, because then you can provide them to Chloe or no, to Sarah, and then they can make sure that it's on the agenda for Chloe. Yeah, Chloe will have it on the agenda.
That's right.
For approval, we can get payment to you. Before.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, gotcha,
Yeah.
okay, perfect, that makes
So she's not at.
exciting.
Mhm.
That's great. We haven't had an attendance there in a while. So.
And even in the council bylaws, the first year of the elected, they get to go to 2 more than what normally is permitted in regular years. It's an anticipation of all new or potentially new members, making sure you get a well-rounded experience.
So just to go back to the formality, so we do have a motion on the table that a social media blast for recruitments, and Cooling was our mover. I don't have a seconder, because we kind of ended up with subcommittees into this, which is fine. So I just need a seconder for that, and then we can call.
I'll second it.
Chloe did, so we're good.
Okay.
And now we'll start with the recorded vote. So Sarah Cooling,
Yes.
Chloe Dewhurst, Kathy Lysette,
Yes.
Sherry Susie,
Yes.
and Deputy Mayor Huntley.
Yes.
Perfect. So I will work with Bridget and we will send that out within the next day or two. And then hopefully I can report to council maybe the second week of March. And then you can have that information and the next member at your first meeting. Perfect. Okay, that will be my target. Anybody has anything else? But now we've come to the time of the day where we adjourn. So our next meeting is scheduled for
Okay,
March.
hold on. One other thing though, I just wanted to bring up for the the Chamber of Commerce lost their website, the Millbrook Chamber of Commerce. Like, we no longer have a Chamber of Commerce. I know it's not part of the BIA, but I just wanted to mention that. And because it was a really good website to have, and it wasn't paid for, so they lost it. And I know in the past, the BIA and the chamber have kind of worked together to do things. Does anybody have any more information about the change? Is that something we could put on for our next meeting?
I think putting a chamber BIA kind of relationship topic on the next meeting is definitely warranted. Let's see where we go with it.
For clarification, Sherry, is the question that you're asking, is the Millbrook Chamber still active? Like, are you seeking?
Yeah,
So who would be able to, would you be able to find out if they're still an active committee? Maybe
I
report that
can
back?
speak to that somewhat.
Perfect.
Diane Gusick, who was the chair, or maybe it's a president there, advised that it had dissolved. They were hoping to bring it back. And the phone number rings into my office. And the only calls, it still does. And the only calls the chamber gets are actually for really for the Ontario Service Office, because everybody believes that the Chamber of Commerce runs the licensing, so we get calls. So, you know, why didn't I get my license sticker?
So then for clarification, Sherry, is your thought to try to resurrect the chamber? Like, what?
I think she's interested in all of it, knowing what is the relationship. Is there going to be another chamber? And maybe we should be looking at grabbing that URL if it's not already gone.
Is that what the negative is for? Like, I don't know.
What's the difference between chamber and BIA?
I honestly.
Both further interest in small businesses in local areas.
Yeah, I think the chamber in the past has covered the entire township, even though it's been called the number of chamber of commerce. I think it's covered the entire. township.
Anyone can be a member. It's
Yeah.
payment of a fee. There's no catchment area.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
in fact, they were members from Coburg and Peterborough because they wanted, it was a low fee. It was $100
Yeah.
a year.
and you got
And it
your.
gave them access to the chamber's insurance.
Oh, gotcha.
So maybe for our agenda, we put on, alliances. Because it could include chamber, it could include, PCAG,
Yeah,
Yeah.
things like that.
yeah.
Peterborough,
But
Peterborough, Worth.
But I think Sherry's also bringing to our attention that there is a URL out there, millbrook.ca.
Gotcha.
And,
It's on our-
So if there's.
yeah, that's what I was getting at, was that millbrook.ca URL hopefully has not been taken, because it's a perfect, URL for us, whether it's run by the chamber or something else in Millbrook, right?
I'm not sure it's gone. They might still own it, but the website's gone.
No, if you don't pay for it,
I know,
yeah, so that was the thing.
but you can own URLs and not have websites associated with them. Just
Yeah.
because the website down doesn't mean that the
So the
URL,
website isn't paid for, but you think the URL has been paid for.
I don't know.
Okay.
When you Google millbrook.ca, it comes up with the Chamber of Commerce site.
Which is non-active.
Right, the chamber's not active, but they must still be paying for the website, or the website must still be in.
Well, they probably bought the URL for 10 years.
Yeah.
or something.
No, then it's changed, because when I checked it before, it said the website was no longer, like, it was, nothing was there. So they must have actually got it back.
Renewed it.
So perhaps we can task yourself and Kathy with getting that information and being able to bring it back instead of speculating on YouTube.
Yeah.
What they're doing, so maybe someone, if you can reach out to Diane.
Maybe she could be a delegation, as she was in the past.
Sure, but if you're absolutely, put it to your chair and then
If
you
she's
can add it to your.
interested,
Yeah.
she might.
You can invite.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And another thing for the next meeting, is how are we gonna get the updated membership information done? Is there a list that I could go through and try to get it updated?
So Christine McCullough, the former chair, sent the list through to, I believe you were on the distribution list to Huntley and myself. So I'm happy to share that with the executive if you wanted to go through it and see if there's anybody missing or if there's addresses that are right.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
For an agenda item, though, I think we should put on communications.
Membership engagement.
Yeah, membership engagement, communication. Discuss what we can do with that.
Sure.
And can we also, discuss our upcoming events, dates and times, what we have upcoming so we know what's on board?
Yeah, upcoming 2023 events, we'll add that for sure.
Yes,
We got
please.
We need an events committee.
For sure. Any other items that we would like to add as well?
So the only other thing I would add to the next agenda item is kind of an open forum on what we want to see with this PI. Almost like a strategy session.
Perfect.
What are our goals? What are our ambitions? What do we want to accomplish?
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Thank you, Sharon.
Was it 2023 to 2026?
2022 to 2020.
Oh, sorry, that's okay.
We just do one year at a time. Let's not get overly.
Yeah,
So I will put in what I think recaps this, but you're more than welcome to edit whatever I send you.
thank you.
Good, any other items? Okay, then Sherry, I think we're on to item number 17, which is adjournment. So you will need a motion
Okay.
to adjourn your executive committee meeting at 9:44 a.m.
Okay, I'd like to call a motion to adjourn at 9:44 a.m. the meeting.
So we'll leave Sherry as a mover and Chloe Dewhurst is going to be your seconder and Deputy Mayor Huntley,
I approve.
Sherry Susie,
I agree.
Kathy Lysette,
Yes.
Sarah Cooling, yes, and Chloe Dewhurst.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So that's the end of our meeting.
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Thanks,
Sherry.
everyone.